The shotgun blast echoed through the empty fields like a thunderclap from hell, shattering the whiskey bottle in Dylan's hand before he could even take a sip. Blood, his father's, not his, splattered across the gravel driveway, warm and sticky under the Texas sun that had no mercy for fools or sons. "You think you can buy your way out of this sin, boy?" his father wheezed, clutching his thigh where the buckshot had torn flesh, eyes wild with the same greed that had bled Dylan dry for years. Dylan's heart hammered like a jackrabbit in a snare, the .12 gauge still smoking in his trembling grip. But it wasn't murder in his veins. It was the raw, ugly truth finally spilling out after 2 decades of silence. He'd come home to Willow Creek, this godforsaken speck on the map 2 hours west of Austin, to bury his grandmother, not to unearth the skeletons his family had been dancing on. But here they were, all of them. Mama with her Bible clutched like a shield, his sister Tara smirking from the porch steps like she'd won the lottery, and Hunter, Hunter, frozen in the bed of his rusted Ford, the man who'd made Dylan's world feel like something worth fighting for. It started 6 months back, in the sticky heat of a Nashville honky-tonk where Dylan had fled after wiring his family another $5,000 for Pa's medical bills that never seemed to end. He'd been nursing a cheap beer at the end of the bar, the kind of place where neon signs buzzed like angry hornets and country crooners wailed about lost loves and dusty roads. Dylan wasn't looking for trouble or salvation, just a momentary escape from the calls that came like clockwork. Tara's voice, sweet as pecan pie, begging for tuition money. Mama's pleas for the church roof fund. Pa's gruff demands for truck parts that magically fixed themselves without a mechanic's touch. They'd sucked him dry since he was 18, fresh out of high school with a welding cert and a job at the oil rigs in Midland. Family first, Dylan, they'd chant, while his bank account dwindled to fumes. That night, the jukebox flipped to Johnny Cash's Folsom Prison Blues, and that's when Hunter slid onto the stool next to him, all lean muscle and easy grin, his faded Levi's hugging thighs that spoke of rodeos and reckless nights. "You look like a man who's carrying the weight of the whole damn South on his shoulders," Hunter said, his voice a low drawl laced with that Kentucky twang that made Dylan's gut twist in ways it shouldn't. Dylan glanced up, expecting the usual pity or pickup line, but Hunter's eyes, storm gray and unflinching, held something real, like he'd seen his own ghosts and lived to laugh about him. They talked for hours, the bar emptying out around them like water down a drain. Hunter was a freelance photographer, chasing stories across the Bible Belt for magazines that paid in exposure and ramen noodles. "I shoot the forgotten ones," he said, sliding his phone across the scarred wood to show a gallery of faces. Migrant workers in Alabama cotton fields, queer kids at pride rallies in Chattanooga, old-timers nursing regrets in Kentucky hollers. The ones society pretends don't exist. Dylan felt exposed under that gaze, like Hunter could see the secret he'd buried deeper than Pa's moonshine still, the ache for men that had started in high school showers and never let up, no matter how many church sermons he swallowed. By closing time, they were stumbling out into the humid night, Hunter's arm slung casual-like over Dylan's shoulders. "Come on, cowboy. My truck's got a bed big enough for Stargazon." It was innocent enough at first, a shared cigarette under the Milky Way, stories of bad breakups and worse jobs. But when Hunter's fingers brushed Dylan's jaw, rough from a day's stubble, something cracked open in Dylan like a fault line. Their kiss was fire and forgiveness, tasting of bourbon and bad decisions, Hunter's hands mapping Dylan's chest like he was claiming uncharted land. For the first time, Dylan didn't feel like a sinner in hiding. He felt alive, electric, wanted. They didn't sleep that night, Hunter's motel room was a dive-off I-40, sheets threadbare and air conditioner rattling like it was on its last legs. But it was paradise. Dylan traced the tattoos snaking up Hunter's arms. Roses thorns deep. A compass rose over his heart pointing nowhere but true north. "What's this one mean?" Dylan murmured, lips against Hunter's collarbone. Hunter chuckled, low and throaty. "Reminds me home ain't a place. It's whoever you're willin' to bleed for." They moved together slow at first, tentative, like men afraid of breaking the spell, then urgent, bodies slick with sweat and the kind of hunger that comes from years of denial. Hunter whispered Dylan's name like a prayer, and Dylan let himself believe, just for a heartbeat, that love like this could outrun the devil on his heels. Morning brought coffee black as sin and plans that felt too good to be true. Hunter had a gig in Austin, shooting a documentary on queer ranchers fighting for land rights, and he wanted Dylan along. "Road trip," Hunter said, tossing Dylan the keys to his truck. "You drive, I'll navigate. We'll hit every dive bar and back road between here and there." Dylan hesitated, phone buzzing in his pocket with Tara's text. "Pa's truck died again. Need $2K by Friday. Love ya." The old guilt clawed at him, but Hunter's hand on his knee steadied the storm. "You ain't their ATM forever, darlin'. Time to cash out for yourself." They hit the highway that afternoon, windows down, wind whipping through like freedom's own breath. Dylan cranked the radio, Waylon Jennings howling about good old boys, and for the first time in years, he laughed, real and ragged, when Hunter belted out the chorus off-key. They stopped at a roadside diner in Clarksville, scarfing burgers and fries, Hunter's boot hooked around Dylan's calf under the table. "Tell me about home," Hunter prodded, ketchup smeared on his lip like war paint. Dylan shrugged, poking at his hash browns. "Willow Creek. Population 1,200, souls included. Pa's a rancher who hates cows more than Democrats. Mama prays enough for all of us. Tara's the golden child, college girl with dreams bigger than her daddy's tab at the feed store. And you," Hunter's eyes narrowed, gentle but insistent. Dylan swallowed hard. "The workhorse. Welded pipelines till my hands bled. Sent every dime home. They call it duty. I call it drainin'." He didn't mention the rest. The whispers after high school graduation when he'd been caught kissing Tommy Ruiz behind the grain silo. The phase they all prayed away with extra tithes and Pa's belt. Hunter didn't push, just squeezed his hand across the formica. "Sounds like they need you more than you need him. But you're a whole story untold." By nightfall, they were holed up in a cheap cabin outside Waco, the kind with creaky floors and a hot tub that bubbled like moonshine. Hunter set up his camera on a tripod, claiming it was for BTS footage, but when he pulled Dylan into frame, shirtless and shy, it turned into something else, a private reel of touches and murmurs, Hunter's lens capturing the vulnerability Dylan had armored against for so long. "Beautiful," Hunter breathed, zooming in on Dylan's scarred knuckles. Like a storm wrapped in skin, they made love again, slower this time, the camera's red light a silent witness to the way Hunter arched under him, gasping Dylan's name like it was oxygen. Word count crept into the dangers of attachment as they rolled into Austin. The city lights a neon promise against the hill country dark. Hunter's shoot was on a sprawling ranch owned by Eli and Marco, a couple who'd turned barbed wire and beef cattle into a haven for outcasts, queer folks from all over claiming land the straight world had tried to steal. Dylan watched from the fence line as Hunter worked, his focus laser-sharp, directing Eli to pose with a lasso like it was Excalibur. There was something holy in it, the way Hunter coaxed truth from light and shadow, making the invisible seen. That night, around a bonfire crackling with mesquite, beers passed hand to hand, Eli clapped Dylan on the back. Hunter, don't bring just anyone to the family table. You're special, son. Marco, quieter, with eyes like polished obsidian, nodded. Love like ours? It don't come easy in these parts. But it's worth the fight. Dylan felt a pang, sharp as barbed wire, the family he'd always wanted, handed to him on a platter of ash and embers. Hunter settled beside him, head on his shoulder, and whispered, "This could be us, you know. A plot of dirt, a camera, you and me buildin' something real." But reality intruded like a hangover at dawn. Dylan's phone lit up with Pa's number, the one he never answered sober. "Boy, we need you home. Tara's in trouble. Boyfriend's a deadbeat. Car's totaled. Wire the money or don't bother coming back." The old script, word for word. But this time Dylan fired back. "I'm done, Pa. Y'all drained me long enough." Silence on the line. Then a growl. "Ungrateful. After all we've done." Dylan hung up, chest tight, but Hunter was there, pulling him close. "Proud of you," he murmured. "First step's the hardest." They stayed in Austin a week, Hunter wrapping his chute while Dylan picked up odd jobs, welding fences for Eli, hauling hay like the ghosts of his past couldn't touch him here. Nights were theirs, rooftop bars overlooking the Colorado River, where Hunter taught Dylan to two-step under string lights, bodies pressed close in a crowd that didn't bat an eye. "See," Hunter laughed, spinning him out. "World's bigger than Willow Creek." One evening, after too many Shiner Box, Dylan spilled it all, the family leeches, the shame of wanting boys instead of girls, the way Pa's sermons had branded him with invisible irons. Hunter listened, then kissed his temple. "They don't own your soul, Dylan. You do." It was during a lazy Sunday drive through the hill country that the first crack showed. Hunter's phone buzzed with an email. Gig in LA. Big money. Shooting for Rolling Stone on fading rock icons. "Come with me," he said. "I's a light." Dylan froze, fingers white on the wheel. "Can't. Gran's funeral's Friday. Gotta go back. Tie up loose ends." Hunter's face fell, but he nodded. "Then I'll wait. But promise me, this ain't goodbye." They sealed it with a kiss at a scenic overlook, the valley sprawling below like a map to everywhere but home. Willow Creek hit Dylan like a dust storm when he rolled in alone, Hunter's truck loaned out to a buddy in Austin. The town hadn't changed. Same sagging porches, same Confederate flags flapping defiant on pickup antennas, same church steeple piercing the sky like a judgment. Grand service was a blur of potluck casseroles and condolences that rang hollow. Tara cornered him in the fellowship hall, eyes red-rimmed but calculating. "Pa's bad, Dylan. Hospital says another procedure, 10 grand. Easy." She laid a hand on his arm, sisterly. "You're the only one who can save us." He wrote the check that night, the last of his savings, because old habits die screaming. Pa clapped him on the back, gruff as ever. "That's my boy. Knew you wouldn't let us down." Mama pressed a Bible into his hands, whispering about prodigal sons. But as Dylan lay in his boyhood bed, the ceiling fan whirring like accusations, his phone glowed with Hunter's text. "Missin' you already. Sendin' a surprise." Attached was a photo, Hunter in their Austin motel, holding a sign, Willow Creek or bust. Be there tomorrow. Joy sparked, then sputtered. What if they saw? What if Pa's temper flared? Dylan shoved it down. But sleep came fitful. Dreams tangled with shotgun barrels and stolen kisses. Hunter arrived at noon, dust-caked and grinning, pulling up to the ranch in a rental that screamed city slicker. Dylan met him at the gate, heart pounding, and they stole a moment in the barn's shadow, fierce, fumbling, Hunter's hands in his hair. Couldn't stay away, Hunter panted. You're my compass. Remember, Dylan laughed, but it was edged with fear. Easy, cowboy. They ain't ready for this. He introduced Hunter as a buddy from the road, the lie bitter on his tongue. Pa sized him up over lunch, ham sandwiches and iced tea on the porch, grunting approval at Hunter's tales of rodeos and cameras. Photographer. Bet you make good money snappin' them Hollywood queers. The word hung, casual venom, and Dylan's fork scraped porcelain too loud. Tara shot him a look. Sly. Mama changed the subject to church socials, but the air thickened like storm clouds. That evening, as cicadas screamed their symphony, Dylan and Hunter slipped out to the old swimming hole, a creek bend hidden by willows. Moonlight silvered the water, and they stripped down, diving in like boys chasing summer. Hunter pulled Dylan under, their bodies tangling in the cool current, emerging gasping and grinning. This place, Hunter said, treading water, it's got your soul stamped all over it. They made love on the bank, slow and reverent, the night wrapping them in secrets. I love you, Hunter whispered, first time spoken aloud, and Dylan echoed it back, the words a dam breaking. But dawn brought reckoning. Tara had seen them return, clothes rumpled, Hunter's arm too casual around Dylan's waist. She waited till Pa was nursing coffee, then dropped the bomb. Dylan's got a boyfriend, Pa. That Hunter fella, he's one of them. The kitchen went tomb silent. Pa's mug shattered on the tile, coffee blooming like blood. What the hell you sayin'? Girl. Tara spilled it all, her voice trembling with false piety. Saw 'em sneakin' back from the creek. Touchin' like sinners. Dylan burst in at the crash, Hunter trailing, confusion etching his face. Pa whirled, face purpled. You filthy, after all I done. Raisin' you right? You bring this abomination under my roof. The shotgun was out before Dylan could blink, Pa's hands shaking with rage and rotgut. Mama wailed, clutching her cross. Tara backed away, eyes gleaming, betrayal's sharpest knife, twisted by her own desperation. Hunter stepped forward, hands up. Sir. Easy. We ain't hurtin' nobody. But Pa's finger twitched, the blast ripping air and glass and flesh. The bottle in Dylan's hand, whiskey he'd grabbed to steady nerves, exploded, shards embedding in Pa's leg as he staggered back. Blood pooled, accusatory. You shot me. Boy, for him, Pa roared. But his eyes held something broken. The hypocrisy laid bare. The man who'd begged Dylan's dollars for vices now damning the son who'd paid. Dylan dropped the gun, while rising. You used me up, Pa. Every cent, every lie. And now this, callin' me sinful when you're the devil in sheep's clothin'? Hunter pulled him back, toward the door, but Tara blocked, tears streaming. Dylan, don't. We need you. Family sticks. Her words cracked him, the sister he'd bankrolled through scandals, now wielding guilt like a whip. The chaos blurred, sirens wailing distant, Mama's sobs a dirge. Hunter dragged Dylan to the truck, tires spinning gravel as they fled into the dawn. Willow Creek shrank in the rear view, a scar fading but never gone. "You okay?" Hunter asked, voice steady as rebar. Dylan shook his head, tears hot. "I shot my own blood. For us." Hunter's hand found his. "You saved yourself, darlin'." That's the real story. They drove east, toward Austin, then beyond Louisiana bayous whispering of fresh starts. Hunter's L.A. gig loomed, but he postponed it. "We do this together." In a roadside motel outside Houston, they collapsed, bodies bruised but unbroken. Hunter traced the fresh cuts on Dylan's palms from the glass. "Your family's poison. But this," he kissed Dylan's knuckles. "This is antidote." News trickled in. Pa survived. Infection raging but ego intact. Tara texted apologies laced with asks. "He needs rehab." "Send money?" Dylan blocked her, the weight lifting like fog off the Gulf. Calls from Mama begged forgiveness, invoking God and blood, but Dylan let them ring, each silence a brick in his new wall. In New Orleans, they found rhythm in the quarter's pulse, brass bands and beignet, Hunter's camera capturing Dylan's tentative smiles amid the revelry. One night, in a jazz club thick with smoke and sax, Hunter knelt amid the applause, a simple silver band glinting. "Marry me, Dylan. Not for show for us. Let's build that plot of dirt. Make it ours." Tears blurred the lights, but Dylan nodded, pulling Hunter up into a kiss that drowned the world. Yet shadows lingered. A letter arrived, forwarded from Willow Creek. Mama's script. "Frail, your pa's dyin'. Come home. Forgive." Dylan stared at it for days, Hunter silent sentinel. "Go if you need," Hunter said finally. "But no, I'm your home now." Dylan burned it in a courtyard fountain, ashes swirling like released sins. No. They had their chance. Months blurred into a year. They settled in Taos, New Mexico, high desert air crisp as truth. Eli and Marco's network hooking Hunter gigs while Dylan apprenticed at a metal shop, forging art from scrap. Their cabin was modest. Adobe walls, a porch swing creaking under starlit confessions. Love deepened, roots twisting. Hunter's photos won awards. Dylan's sculptures sold to galleries that saw the fire in his welds. But by kitsch crept in whispers. Pa passed in the spring, obituary silent on Dylan's name. Tara showed up unannounced, hollow-eyed, baby on her hip, hers and the deadbeats. "He left us nothin'." Pa's estate's gone to lawyers. She didn't beg, just stood there. The girl who'd once braided his hair, now a mirror of their shared wreckage. Dylan fed her, housed her a night, but when she hinted at old times, he shook his head. "You chose sides, Tara." "So did I." She left at dawn. No goodbyes. And Dylan grieved not the man Pa was, but the father he could have been. Hunter held him through it, their bed a sanctuary. "Humanity ain't in blood," Hunter murmured. "It's in Chusin grace." They married quiet, under cottonwoods, Eli officiating with vows that echoed humanism's quiet roar. Love as rebellion, forgiveness as strength. Years on, Dylan taught welding to queer kids in Santa Fe, hammers ringing like anthems. Hunter's book, Outlaws of the Heartland, topped charts, faces like theirs immortalized. Tara wrote once, "Clean now, baby thriving, proud of you. Wish I'd seen sooner." No reply needed. The scar softened. In the end, it wasn't triumph or tragedy. Just life, raw and redemptive. Dylan, under that same porch light now in Taos. Shotgun long buried, pulled Hunter close. "You saved me," he whispered. The wind carried no judgments, only the vast American sky, wide enough for sinners to become saints.